Hello, welcome to this lesson where we're going to look at how we can expand brackets. So we're going to start with an example and then I'll go on to what the distributive property is. So here we've been asked to expand 3 and then brackets a plus 4. This is something you haven't seen before, but really we could imagine that there's a little multiplication sign there. So this means 3 times this. Now if we were given a question such as 3a, so I'll write it up here, 3a, we could then expand this by writing a and then adding it together 3 times. So this is exact same as this. Now we've got the same thing happening here. Instead of a, we have a brackets with a whole lot of stuff in it. But we can do the same thing. So we can write out a plus 4, so writing whatever's here, our 3 times, because that's the number there. So going that plus a plus 4 plus a plus 4. Okay, so we've written all of this. Now we can collect the like terms. So we're going to go and collect our a's. So we have 3 a's, so we can go 3a. And then we have 3 4's, which we can also add together. So we're going to add 3 lots of 4. Now we could simplify this to being 3a plus 12. And that would be the final step. Now this is what you can do, one way of solving it, but there is an easier way, and that's to use the distributive property. And I'm going to use this example to explain how it works. So see here how we have 3 lots of this. That's like having this here is our 3, and then we have a plus 4. What we've ended up with, if we forget about this last line and look at this one here, because this is the step here, we're going to get our a, our 3 at the front, this thing here, twice. So we've got a, and then multiplied by each of these individual things in here. So you have 3 times this a, and times this 4. So that's both of these things here. We have our b, this corresponds to this one here. So we're going to have our 3a, and then we're going to have 3 lots of 4 as well, 3 here. Like we have ab, we're going to have ab, and we have a times c, we have ac. We get 3 times a, 3a, and 3 times 4, 3 times 4, which equals this. That may be a bit confusing. We're going to go over some examples, so hopefully it becomes a bit more logical and makes sense for you. What I like to do is I like to circle our terms and draw arrows because it makes it really clear what we're doing. So I'm going to begin by circling our term at the front. And then I'm going to draw an arrow to the first of the terms. So this is like going here, a, and then doing an arrow to our b. Now, what this is going to tell me is that our a and our b are what were multiplied together before. So we can multiply our 2 and our c, and we're going to get 2c. Now, I'm going to do the next part. So if we then drew an arrow to our c, we get our a times c. So I'm going to draw an arrow and circle the second part, which is here minus d. So we're going to get plus 2 times minus d. Now we can simplify this. We're going to get 2c, and then 2 times minus d is going to be the same as minus 2d. So we can go minus 2d. And that's our final answer expanded. And you can see there we have 2 lots of c, and then the minus here actually comes and moves there, and we get 2 lots of d. So we've expanded this one. Next we have minus 3a multiplied by 2a plus y. And this one's a bit more challenging. So here, we're going to circle this entire thing out the front. We want to make sure we get all of it. Then we're going to circle our 2a. And we're going to draw an arrow. Now again, we're just going to multiply the first thing by the second thing. So we're going to get minus 3. So this equals minus 3a times 2a. And we can simplify this later. We're just going to leave it like that for now. Maybe in another color to make it a bit simpler, I'm then going to draw an arrow and circle the second thing. So we're again multiplying the first number or term. So we get minus 3a times our second one, which is y. Now we can simplify this all down. We're going to get minus 3 times 2 is minus 6, and then a times a is going to give us a squared, or AA, and then we get minus 3ay. So we end up with that final answer. Now, some important things to recognize here are that when we have negative signs, they're going to do some interesting things. So if we have a negative sign in the brackets, we're going to end up keeping it and it's going to end up here. If we have a negative sign outside of the brackets, both of these terms are going to be multiplied by it. So both of them are going to become negative. If we were to have a minus and a minus here, a negative times a negative is a positive, so this one here would be positive. Those are some things to think about, and we're going to practice this a lot in class. So if it's still quite confusing to you, that's okay. We're going to have a chance to go over it again. Now we have some questions I'd like you to have a go at. So the first one is to expand